So hi, yes, if someone just listened to the previous podcast, sometimes like I said, I delete some, I don't like the result. I just improvise. I just like it's for me, it's just good for to exercise every day. Sometimes I publish, or sometimes if it just depends if I have I speak to someone. Normally it's through internet. Uh, and here I just want to do a recap. Actually, I've made one that was alright, but I've heard it again once I put it online. It had some quite good number of views. I don't know, maybe 50, something like that. For if I don't even pass it on, I don't even actually broadcasting it. Just like sometimes for a couple of people. I think this one I put in a group, but people normally don't. Depends on the platform. It's not very useful. You need to send them messages and just tell about. And but to recap things, and that's what I'll try to do today, because like every day, even if it's I delete or I don't publish it, and for me it's important, as I've been doing in French as well. Now I have to start again. um just say what they're doing there in Brazil, this cult family. I was just reading something in French actually that's a sort of a joke, is ironically, but the mother saying to the kid that there is no monster inside the wardrobe. The monsters are the family secrets, and that's the case. And friends who actually create traumatism in you. And that's the second case that it actually never happened in my life, but happened now because of this quote family unquote. And they are the main guilties for what's happening, because there is a crisis in the both football clubs in my state. I saw what happened actually as well here in Paris, like in France. In they are very criticized even by French newspapers, Spanish, and the English newspapers, and all around the world, because the Champions League final and the lack of organization and all the trouble, and the excuses sounded like lies. Like people, like I've seen journalists, even friends, saying that because there are some fake tickets, and you could see that there was righteous people over there, at least in the footage, or you know the records I've could watch. And I think it's just a very probably bad organized, and they're worried because I think they're gonna hold the Olympics, I think in 2024, and in 2023 they're holding, I don't know if it's something sort of in an European Cup or a match, an important match, something like that. And to recap, it's just like I was watching because the vice president of my rival team is having loads of problems and lies. It's like you can see that they are lying, and then there is not. I think it's no surprise it is where it is, because then it is the high people in the hierarchy, they lie. It just like destroys everybody in the club. The fault is not of the woman who is serving the coffee, or the guy who is doing, I don't know. He's just being like just doing something like his job over there. Even the players, or even the coach is not to blame. Even the coach has his fault, but you can see from these cases. And the rival, it's the weirdest thing. It's normally is just one is bad, the other one is good. And my club fell to the second division. It's very grave. It's the third time in history. Normally it should never fall. And you can see always then it happens, there's something wrong, very very wrong. Even the rival fell once, and there is their president that he has been investigated, and even injustice for many things that were discovered, just like the deviating stuff and all that, that's corruption. And now what was it's sort of funny but not funny, I'm trying to keep it is different, because I've done some, as I said previously, some podcasts. And I can try to be ironically, and I'll try to do that if I feel like, but sometimes there is not even And I just mentioned these cases to come back then to recap about my case. And then the rival, they have like the president and vice president and how the hierarchy, they are very criticized. And the vice president actually is a former, I don't know because I didn't even search the translation in English, but he's for high judge like of labor, labor cases. And I don't know how this, just like there is the judge, there is someone above the judge that if there is something to sort out, he's the guy normally there. But he's working in his football club. He left his, I don't know why, his position. In Brazil, many people say that some people just get like these positions by politics. They should pass like tests or, for that, and they actually just, or just is just like by friendship, or they buy sometimes the stuff. I'm not saying the case of this guy, but I'm saying that it's very well known in Brazil that some people say they just get through the back door, as they have an expression there, you know. But the weird thing is just that the guy is working, so he should be worried, and there is a scandal. Maybe it's just an international scandal by now, because it's a national scandal that for the first time in I don't know how many years, the rival players, they made a strike yesterday morning. They refused to go like training and to work. Basically, they had to start like I think at 9:30 past 9 until midday, and they refused. They made a strike because they had 3 years not paid in wages and salaries. They were criticized because it's high wages. That's from in Brazilian currency, it ranges from 300,000 to 600. So some people criticize them, but it's their wages. The clubs pay that. Some clubs pay even more, and then you can think, look, if it's their wages, it doesn't matter. It's just like and some people say that 3 months is just the excuse for the public, because it's worse than that. Because normally it never happens. It gets late. Sometimes the club do that. It's not good, but normally the laws are more strict. They used to let a lot, and but they talk to players that can happen to your company. It happened to me already, and I worked especially in Brazil. But some people say, oh, that's just like I pay next month or 2 months later, and sometimes it's difficult exactly how much you earn. Like if I earn like minimum wages, like it's very very tough. But it's something that you talk, and as long as you can hold into the person. In England, I think very few times it got late, and I think once there was a mistake, but then it was corrected in 1 week. Some people ask subs in England as well to advance part of it. Then that was actually never my case, but then I never really had a problem. Here I had a problem with one employer in France, but he tried to do something very wrong, and he didn't actually. He thought that it was ignorant, something like that, and he had to pay. Actually, he even was a temporary contract of 4 months. He wanted just like to say that was just a trial. After 2 months, almost 2 months, 1 month and 20 days, and you have like 48 hours to give a contract. And I had just a pre-contract, and I had worked, and I had like reception, hotel reception, and he has like it's just 2 weeks trial. Actually, he should actually, and I have passed already. So I worked more than I was working 1 month to 20 days without wages. I asked my wages after the first month, and about the contract as well. They said, oh, in the end of the year, but in the end of the year it would be more than 4 months. It was a bit weird. It was nice. I was just keeping all the records. That it's normal. They think they don't know if they noticed or not. I just keeping the signing there's a sheet for signing, a paper, your presence. There's the rotas, and they're just doing not even think about, okay, just uh, giving just like them time, or being confident. And then it was even like 60 kilometers away. I had to catch the train. I paid an average like 100 euros, a bit more in transport, and he should pay actually half of that by law. And then when he said that, he tried to break the contract, then I was supported. Then it has to do like with happened to me now, because then at that time I was supported by all the organisms. So some of them that are private, like unions, no, but even for the job agencies here, it was supported. Said no, what they're doing to you, because I answered like was a proper thing, a proper offer, and everything I was registered. What they are doing to you is totally legal. So you just like you wanted me not to go to work, but just you go to work tomorrow and present yourself, stay there. He's gonna have, and then he starts to pay everything, and it's just, and then it's of course it's just like it's damaging, you know. He tried to push me a contract that wouldn't fit. I couldn't even do like it's just like split hours for living in another city. It would be impossible to work like 7 to 12, and then let's say 8 to 11 in the night. I wouldn't even have a train, or then couldn't even sleep. I would have like not even 1 hour to sleep. It's just, of course, I didn't sign, and these people's lawyers that I spoke. I found a lawyer late actually. It took like me maybe more than almost 1 month, 1 month and a half after this happens, just having support from other organisms and stuff. But he said I did well not signing that contract, because it was just like a trap, you know, and just gonna just proved that I said I'm not gonna sign, and you're just gonna solve that injustice. And then I kept very polite, you know, about that. And he was, of course, the first 2 weeks that I said no, I don't accept, and I was supported. He was just, who is supporting you? Who is supporting you? What's the union? What's the, and they sent some emails just to guarantee my job, like as they recommended, and I wrote myself. One was written by a person who worked in a job agents. Actually, he said Mr. Ayrton is gonna keep his job, and he put some pressure, like for 1 week and something more like that, 2 weeks. Then we had some meetings, but I was very sure about myself, doing very correct things, and they just said no. Now we go to justice. You know, he paid part of it, but it was too much, and he should pay a compensation. And the thing is that he should actually, by law, have the two options. Either the temporary contract returns automatically in a fixed contract, that was one option, and the other option would pay a compensation, which I think it was actually his, because there was no atmosphere to work anymore there, though I could keep in even doing my job, because for him it was cheaper to pay the compensation. In the end, there was some mistakes, even of calculation. There's mistakes and some mistakes there, and in the end, I earned, I think, some compensation. That okay, that was fine. Beyond my salaries and wages, that everything was paid, the transport and everything. And for temporary contracts, you get like 20% of all the value. Like all this is in law, and I knew this because I worked for a temporary company before that just gave like company for 1 week, and everything that you is okay. Even I had to work in the black in Brazil and here in France once, but if it's a deal between your employer, let's say, just you agree for that, just for 1 day, just then it shouldn't happen. Just like, but they know here it happens. Just they say like most of the market is like that, but you have a deal, otherwise, like even in Brazil, like where I work in this way, many people went to justice. I kept my word. I think the guy, just I did gain some experience. I couldn't be an intern and like do internship because I had a degree already in journalism, but I worked for a small company like as a was an internship, and he paid me like without declaring it, and in the end I could have, and I had like there like um, they were late, like wages sometimes very very late. Then it's difficult for people to demand you high performance, even though you don't want to do things like on purpose, is stop to work. But like I was saying, a guy in Brazil talking about this club is just unconsciously is you're gonna lose motivation. See, look, where are my wages? And not just part. How can you demand it? How can you demand things from me? And if you're not paying it, and that's but even so, then in the end of the day they paid everything. Took some time, like I could betray them and take them to justice, but as I made a deal, it's just like word from word. Like many people did that, but I was like some person that indicated me was leaving the company and said, no, Arton, they are nice, blah, 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 and all that thing. Just like a sort of pity, just no. It said like I'm gonna keep my word, and then I kept my word. It was just like a place that was just getting like out of date as well, and I was going to travel to Europe, and as I said, no, just will pay what you owe me, and that's fine. There's no need for compensation. Not gonna just the market work like that in Brazil. I don't know in other countries. Unfortunately, you don't have the option sometimes. But here you should be more strict. Even the image you have in Europe. I don't know, but in the States, I imagine it happened both cases. But when you are not, the thing is, this guy that actually he's working as vice president and as a former labor judge or something like that, in a higher position than that, but working now for his football club, and he's very criticized because he doesn't understand. I think he doesn't know. Apparently he sent a message, and I'm gonna come to my case, that the players became aware that he was saying everything was paid like up to date, and everything they were paid because they had a draw in the last message in the last match, sorry, and they played very badly. But there is this guy who sent, and the players were asking for their wages for like very good time apparently, and they became mad. They saw the message and say, look, he's lying to, I don't know if it was to a journalist, someone else, and then the players have their WhatsApp group or whatever, one told the other and say, look, beyond or not paying us, he's lying that he's paying, that he's up to date. So it's just like they felt like stabbed in the back, just like, so you can put things together. So they went for this strike, which is, some people say they have a right, and they have a right to ask their wages. No, none of you, even the boss, wouldn't like, even these guys they are paid, they wouldn't like there's no excuse, because they were claiming they were having profit even in the company. So it's very weird. But they say the manner that maybe they did, but I think they said before they were asking, because they said, oh, they should have asked and just threatened to do a strike and sort this out. And that's right, that they don't, because they're high wages, they're not gonna die of famine, and that comes to make my case worse. Okay, then there's this message, and then you see all the contradictions, the guy from being the labor thing and just not paying his players, and you cannot demand that if a player, doesn't matter how much he earns, like it was 1 million in Brazilian currency or $1 million. It just, they have a deal, all because they didn't qualify for that competition. That's not in the contract, just follow the contract, and it's not their fault. That's very, very poor and bad administration. If the players do things, they are bad performance. If they cannot actually be blamed for that if they go there and go to the jobs. But then there are ways to talk to them, and there are ways maybe to finish properly the contract. If they do, like don't go training like without justification or anything, there are kind of punishments like the same in everywhere. If they're doing something that's wrong, that's not well behaving or doing a mistake, then there's all this stuff, that you can get like suspended, then can get like a warning, something like that. Then there is always this mechanism. So even in Brazil, but before happened something, but not paying wages, not, no, just like you're not gonna just then the players, like I think it was almost consensus like that the players are right, if were right and are right. I think they are right as well, because it doesn't matter. But of course, the population, even like minimum wages, some people get divided. And you have to see that these guys, they have influence, like in both football clubs, and they try to put now they are very bad viewed with the supporters and their club, their employment, because you can see that when these things come out, just like they decided to throw in the fan. But what is similar to my case is just I was working for 12 years in Europe, and I passed the contacts to my sister because of this Munchausen syndrome by proxy is horrible. Just to recap, what is that? Uh, MSbP is just like projecting an illness or someone who doesn't have, and I published many times. Just if you watch, probably you get like English subtitles, just what the images of one of the previous ones, and that I passed courses, I passed university, I studied journalism, I studied 2.5 years of law. I passed the school, I was playing football, happy kid. Like you can see in articles, sometimes look a happy kid doing like having a healthy life, and you just have a mother that's nasty and it doesn't stop in childhood, like you have in articles, and she brings all the family against, and you have like siblings that profit from that. That's what's basically was my life was hell, when I was living, like with this blackmail, and my family is quite wealthy for Brazilian standards. It's just not, well, of course, these guys in the football club, they are even more powerful. But my father works for a company there, like he's a gynecologist, like I said, and he's quite wealthy, and he earned money from inheritance when he was 40, and his mother was alive, and my quote mother, because I don't like to call her mother, that's for me it's a monster. And that I speak like that because I've seen other people speak like that who are victims, and it doesn't mean that your mother, if you have like a good mother, it's your mother is bad, because I have friends that their mothers are great or their families are great, but my family, and doesn't mean that I'm gonna be dysfunctional or whatever. They need like mothers like mine went to jail, and that's sometimes some got caught because some was profiting from it, or just doing that on purpose. That happens in other country. My struggle that happens in Brazil, and basically what happens, I passed to my sister and I asked her, don't pass to your parents, because I was suffering because of this isolation here, and I arrived in France like with 37 basically, and this fixed contract then I got, like this job that I was horrible dismiss, fired, forged, it was made up, a trap, and it's like torture. They put me to work like on Saturday, on Sunday on my own, and I proved that. I showed already in previous podcasts. On that I'm hesitating, not hesitating, probably gonna do it in English, but I'm tired of using the images and all that stuff. But it's sometimes the only thing that relieve me in some way. But what I'm struggling, just I can see, it's just, you can see like where it's coming from. If you get robbed in the streets, it was just like was an accident, was by hazard, that was just bad luck, or if you just like you had a quarrel with someone, or if you had a quarrel with someone, or some bigger than that person, that it just, you can feel things, you can see, and it's the same like this guy saying, because actually they have a meeting, I think at 2 o'clock in the evening, in the afternoon yesterday, and then the players and the of course they fell apart, but to them, to the press and to the supporters, the players and all the executives of the club, they said that it was combined in the morning. The guy, they got straight away, like myself, I saw the same thing, if there is, it just like you have the official press of the club, if it was combined, the first thing that they should do in the 9:30, look, the players not gonna go to work, so they were lying in the afternoon to try to relieve the problem, but they have a big problem, and like inside the company, like let's say if you see a football club as company, because sometimes football clubs in Brazil, they are a bit, let's say, weird. Even these wages they are claiming that they're actually not real wages, because in Brazil you can split like 60%, like in a, like in, you say, in your, like in your worker pay slip, and then you have like you create a company. It's legalized now because they used to do that a lot, and 40% they pay like what they call image rights, which actually is not image rights. It's just a way that people know just to pay less taxes, 12%. It's authorized, and many players do that, so they are gonna earn, let's say, 300,000, for 450,000. They made a deal with the club, so they earn 300,000 like in salary, and they earn like it's normal. That's not even, it's not against the law, and 150 like image rights, which actually is not image rights, because it doesn't matter if they appear or not, if they are on the camera or not. It's not having, it's just a way to, it's just a sort of legal trick to pay less taxes, that they do a deal, and actually they have, before happened too much, they were doing like 90% of play was receiving, let's say, 1,000 in Brazilian currency, receiving 499,000 in this. They say, look, the government said, let's stop, if we're gonna allow 40%. But these are part of wages as well. Some people say, no, that's wages, it's combined, and even it's regulated now. They can claim if they have a dispute with the club or the company, they can claim as wages as well. They cannot stop. I think no one works. Even I did some like um, volunteer non-profit work you can do, but there is for people to, there is sometimes there are conditions, and people are gonna, and it depends, sometimes you need the money, and the people are gonna be or exploit you. It happened to me already, unfortunately. But normally you have something combined, and I have a contract that normally here in a center it's impossible to do. And then I passed the things to my sister. He broke her words to me, and he passed to her fathers, and this get to a husband, like a pedophile father to a girl. Normally, I've in some cases, I know one case personally of a woman. He said, she said her father were a pedophile. He started to use her when she was 13, and her mother was a accomplice, and so she hates her mother and her father. And it's the same case, but in the inverse side. My mother is completely sick about me, and because the relationship is horrible, and my father protects him. They are accomplices. That's what I put in my Twitter account. You can see my Instagram account is just about pictures, and my Facebook account, well, just about acquaintances, some friends. Just like it's full up. But I talk a lot about that. I wrote text about that in some different languages. I don't know if I revised then, if I did a revision, and but normally they are properly understandable, because I probably didn't even use any corrector. Normally I don't need to, or whatever, it's available sometimes if it's directly in the screen. And but one time I passed to my sister, then she started to say all these things, that I was ill and have problems, blah blah blah, and this is just like I was having a problem with a colleague, just one of colleague, and just said to her, like, my age is causing prejudice to my life. And then they blocked me, and then 6 months later said everyone was good, like she knew like people from my work, and like she had the contacts, because I passed contacts from my manager, because there was ups and downs, but she was being a good manager. I think for 1 year at least, we got to understand each other. There was before I couldn't say that before there was relationship that were ups and downs. There were good moments, bad moments, but and then I had this thing like with no past, and then this guy I had a problem was always trying to be like this manager's son's works there, friend. He was tried to be her friend, and he has a daughter. She had a daughter as well, worked there. She had a couple like worked there, a couple of children, let's say. But the son was 18, and it must be now 23, 24 when he started, and the girl was 25, 26 when she started. She must be now by her 30s, 30 probably. And but this guy was just their friends, just calls me problem. I know that their children were not bad, and the other people in work sometimes you have like, like in a football team, we have disagreements. It's just work, and they just you have laughs and fun, and you create sort. It's but this guy was causing me like really problem. This is really bad. It's just like an appearance. And I told my sister, because he had actually broken my car in one of the discussions we had, because I couldn't stand anymore. He was very nasty to me. He was just like talking to me to everybody. Even sometimes I asked the customer, do you know him? Because I think it was his friend. He was saying bad things. Of course, I speak French well. And no, I don't know him. And the guy he treated me like weirdly in the beginning, like for a few weeks. And he said, no, there is nothing wrong. And I talked to him, no, I don't know him. But yes, with these things, he goes and talks, and he doesn't do his job. And then I just told my sister, look, we had a discussion, and he stopped like insulting me and all this stuff. And he broke my car. We had a discussion. I answered back, I just like, it cannot be. My manager knows this happens. This happens already. I saw many times. It's not. It's just discussion. Don't people then have like meetings? Sometimes people get hit up, but it's not a reason. It's not even a reason to fire people unless there is no nothing like there is nothing physical. But actually, he came. He knew where I lived. He knew I showed like I had like a popular car, the cheapest one in the market, and I had walked, I think, in 2015. But I showed him a picture when we were like sort of didn't know each other very well and sort of trying to get friends, and he knew about that. Where he knows the city, and he came in. He broke my car. He actually he blew up the tire, like with a very very big knife. You should wear an instrument like a cutting instrument, and he ripped off the Argentina. Just one of those that you can actually detach more or less. But anyway, and then that was like it cost me because you have to change the both wheels from the back wheels of the car. It's just like more than 300 euros and more stuff. And then I left the car over there. It's not to be it's robbed because it's just like. And then it was got by the town hall, and then I had to pay extra money. It was a lot of problems, that. But I told my sister, and then she started to attack me, and they stopped. And then 6 months I was massacred. I suffered 4 threats because this guy, he was neutralized. He threatened me, but I told my aunt he's not gonna do that. And I told other people, and no, he's not. And they had to stay quiet. And she protected me. But just like was I telling my sister, because he was trying to put other people, because he knew he couldn't do anything to me. He was being foul. So people who sometimes start to work there, he was trying to put other people against me, just to try to get rid of me. I don't know if to aggress me or even to get rid and causing problems to my social life. That's I told my sister. That's totally is that coherent? Of course it is. And my sister go against me and pass to her parents. And then I never forget. That night I had a nightmare. I just then since then I don't sleep like well anymore. Then my mother was laughing. She was laughing. She was like laughing, laughing, laughing. They didn't stop laughing. And then I had some days off. I go next week, and then they start to treat me like they start to do traps, like overcharge traps. Not that by accident. Sometimes I have to do some work that some people was sick. Some person was sick the last day, or there was whatever, or so that day they were not feeling well, or they didn't do the job. You can make up for that sometimes, but even my mind says that sometimes there is abusive, but that was on purpose. And then I wrote, I think, an email. I think was 19 pages that she couldn't even disagree and not even give me a warning, because I said just like let's do the camera. You've never done that. Even I had 6 months after I started work there, I had sent an email, just say, look, just to keep like things written down, because if you break a word or if there's a misunderstanding, sometimes I just write down. And I never actually wrote like 19 pages, but she couldn't fire me because I was saying. But then my sister cut away. What you did. Of course I was mad because my sister was telling me to quit my job. Are you gonna pay my accounts? Are you gonna find a job for me? And just to quit my job, go 6 months to Brazil, just have treatment for whatever. I'm not you, and just speak to her mother. Then it's just like that's nonchalance by proxy. Then how it finished, and everybody, my work, it was good. Then they put me like in this trap and I got fired. And then on the 6th of June, then just one day after I received the letter, she waited the cameras to be erased and all that stuff. And when she suspended me, I didn't understand why, because of course it was a trap. I did everything correctly. I agreed. I worked alone, and I agreed to close the shop, like, or to have my break during the day, or many breaks, or because you can go to the toilet. There's no toilet in the shop. Even if there was, I have to close the shop. I cannot go to the toilet and leave the tills alone, the shop by itself. Then it's just like work with hours. I said, no, I'm gonna do everything in the end. Just like take 45 minutes, even 50 minutes. And actually she fired me because of that. It wasn't a strike. I didn't abandon my post. I was working alone. The guy who is there's no message that he wasn't fired. It's just like I show that it's biological, but that's not the point. I'm gonna show in another probably thing, because he's in the rota. He's not there. He never fired. I asked to look. He should know what happened, even if to us. I don't even knew. I think I need a sort of mandate to open the deals and registers. That would be helpful. That actually helpful. That would prove everything, because she had to fake. She has too much things to fake. She had to fake like digital records, like from the tills, from there's just one till opened from the computer in the office, and let alone because there's just an opening and a closing procedure, and there's a pause. You have a break. You have to mark it on the till. Actually, I always did, and they have the papers for that as well, the paperwork for that. That's just there's a print every time you go. And but I don't even need it. Just prove by logic, that I worked alone, because she doesn't mention my break. She doesn't mention a colleague. She doesn't mention the guy that doesn't get fired. So I worked alone. It's just like, that's obvious, and the guy would be complaining. He would be my friend by now, saying, look, I also got fired, or at least we had some message exchanged, like he's saying like, oh, I decided not to go to justice. For me, it's fine, there's nothing like that. He's just like, he kept working, and there's no one else who actually was fired, and just myself. And that's my sister who said everything. And then when I get like the message, my father calls me totally drunk on the 6th of June. I have the log for this. I just from the call from the application and call from him. He was totally drunk. He was celebrating and then they were boycotting me. They were not speaking to me. Then they knew, oh, you were fired. Then I was crying, just like, and I went like 8 days without sleeping, and basically eating, not sleeping during the day, night, totally awake, 8 days of stress until the letter arrived. And then I was desperate. Then he calls me drunk, totally drunk, making a barbecue. Come on, making a barbecue here. Now we're going to speak to your mother, and start swear at me. It's just like, what? He punched me when, as an adult, I was working because of her. She pretends crying. And then I'm going to arrive there. Wait, hold on a second. Hang on there. As I don't know what's related to this message from the guy with the football club. And then okay, then I get mad there. Let's say I wake up, then I start to go to the center of urgency stuff, because I saw that I was going to pass away, just like, I pass out, I think is the term. It just fade away. I probably pass away as well, to die, but at least I was about losing conscience. Many times just my view was getting dark, but of course I was not sleeping, and just so much stress, and I couldn't feed. I was losing direction, losing memory, because no sleep, no memory. It's just like a computer, at least the old one, that you need to reset, And then because I have no energy, it's probably if I lost conscious, whatever, I was almost falling in the streets, were just trying to go to buy a water in the supermarket, something like that, or being totally lost. Was horrible, as a torture. When my doctor said, because actually then I went to a point of two, 3 centers during the night, because I couldn't hold on, even couldn't stay, because I was afraid I was almost fading in my flat, and I couldn't understand anymore here, so I couldn't stay inside. And it's a tiny place, it's 14 meters square. Oh, it's horror, I have to say. Then I couldn't like even tie my shoes very well, because so much stress and so much time. Then I went, I pleaded, actually I wanted to stay in one of these places, and actually I stayed in one of the waiting rooms. And even the guy, like, there I felt calmer, because it was like 3:30, 4 in the morning. And the guy, when he came like 6:30, he said, oh, you should just ring the bell. I didn't know, I was totally lost in one of the urgent centers. Then, because I wanted to be someone to supervise if I want to sleep, if I was going to wake up, not to sleep, because I was going to to pass out, to have like, I don't know, to lose conscience, about that. Then I said, look, and I had to call the medicine I had to sleep before, like for 1 month in 8 days. That's, I said. Then I spoke to, but that's normal. You're very stressed, but I didn't want. I was so corrected. I didn't want to go and ask for more, so I was trying to wait. That's why I wait more, like 8 days I could hold, and I wanted to wait 1 month and try to get some sleep, and I couldn't. Then I had to go they gave me the recipe, but there was no pharmacy open, and everything. It's just like, it was a Sunday, something like that as well. So it was hell until we arrived, like Monday morning. Went to my doctor with always a recipe, but it always like it was in my bag, and it got some water on it. It was just like, it was horrible. I don't know even if I couldn't use it in a pharmacy. But when he saw the way and he knew more or less about the problems that related to my work, normally they talk to you very fast. Here in France, it's 5 minutes. Then he spoke like to me for 15, 20 minutes. He explained that it's totally normal. And he gave me the medicine, just feed up and go. And now, and that's, I was sure then, and I was reassured. And he was very comprehensive. It's not even the same one because he had so many people, and actually it's another GP, let's say, that I have now. And now it's just like online. But I have to say that, and he said, no, if it's, of course, you cannot work like 8 hours. He said, just talking about that, he could give a paper. It's just against health, it's against the laws here. It's like, it's horrible. And he understood that. And then he gave the medicine to sleep. I tried to say professional, but it was horrible. He gave another over medicine over that even my GP said, no, don't take just one, cause the guy, and he saw that I had the notes for the other medicament, and it's just what this guy is a professional from, like, I just went to ask him, do you give me some support? Can I go to the court to against my manager? No, just to come next week. Look, I have to take a decision quickly. You have to be quick on these things. And he didn't say, I'm not coming back. I have seen it 2 times before when I was suffering, actually, like I was being massacred, and I think he was useless. He spoke to me for 5 minutes, just like a guy who is supposed to see what's happening, and to give you support. And I said, no. And they said, do you know what's multiple proxy? No, I don't know. And okay, you are a professional, you don't know. Nice, so I'm not coming back, Then my GP said, no, he's just like, you're gonna take an overdose if you take both of these meds. And he gave another one that was stronger to sleep. And then I just fed that day. But my father did that, and just then he was quiet. Then he was ashamed. He felt shame before my friends called, because then he started to take one by one. Like there is, reminded me of a song out, and he started to take one by one. And because he was ashamed from these sort of friends, but I haven't seen for a long time, for 12 years, working on. Then he says that it was far that they deserved. Started like that. He started to pay me my rent for, I don't know, 15, 20 years that he and I have a sister who never worked, and never, this one, and then in Brazil, never worked, never got, had the means to get her degree, didn't get her degree. She arrived to the conclusion that she wanted to get my stuff to take over things. You start to see things click in place. And worse than that, my father was claiming that he's very serious, like the same thing as this. He's claiming he's very serious. He didn't have time to speak to me, just like to give me some support. He didn't want me to do a lawsuit against the manager. And this time, for her to do that, I didn't have any support of any of these organisms. Was everything turned back. I knew that. Everything I know, I was stitched up, like we say in English. I think that's the expression. I knew that. All organisms, my name, I'm Brazilian guy. The only Brazilian guy I know was working on fixed control Montpellier. My name is very unusual even for Brazil. Like, and every organism that should support me, and everybody is, they just like, they turn the blind eye. It's just like door closed on your face, or just like even a guy like this. They are nice, they give a lot of support. And my father, no, you don't do a lot, so you just forget about this picture mother and go back to Brazil. And if you see a published image that he was trying to oblige, that's my chosen by proxy as its highest, And then he starts to lie to friends. Oh, he abandoned, he deserved, and then start to get like with this guy who broke my car, and they encourage aggression. Like my father said 6 months before, when he called me and said, no, you should die because you don't talk to your mother. Oh, that's the reason to die. He always, before he said he loved me, he said he was at easy because I left. He didn't have to pay anything, any expenses to me. Like because some people sometimes they are their 50s, they are receiving presents, and it was because of her I was totally ostracized, because of her illness, her love, sick love. It's not love. She hates me. She showed that, but in front of the others, she's just doing everything. It's like a son dead, like it finishes end up in a infanticide, or just like and lettuce, a vegetable, like on their plate, just like as they want to dope, and just like it's a sick love in the relationship. And what's gonna prove is that exactly like this guy just just this match leaked this message from the players that it just okay, they were mad already because they knew what was happening, the wages are late. But when the message came from the guy, and then my father is just like, it's 2 a.m. here in France, I received a message. He said, sorry, I sent you a porn message, I didn't even receive it. This sort of this gynecologist, but did two mistakes. Once I sent a porn message to you by mistake that was supposed to send to a guy, I don't know what his name is, Jair or whatever, and they say, sorry, just don't get mad at me, and saying it's just as a mistake of a senile, senile old man. Yes, but this old man, just like 2 3 months before, he's talking to society that he works for society, that he's serious, and he's saying that I'm ill, that I have problems, that I don't have, my memory doesn't work, that I'm making up things, and he does this senile thing. But of course I get mad, of course I get angry. Then it's the same thing as no, we are paying all the wages are, it's the players not, then that's the proof. And said, oh, you don't have proof. That's the proof. He was happy. If it was serious, even at 2 in the morning, he could call me here. There are different time zones, and could come, Ayrton, are you okay? No, he just stopped talking to me if I don't speak to my mother. That's Munchausen syndrome by proxy at its most degree. So they should go to jail in Brazil, like she should go. And I'm asking, I'm claiming, sometimes I'm afraid. And here I don't know what to do. Here I just want to know one thing. I want to stay in Montpellier. Is the city I love. I like France. I love England as well, when I lived there. Or I visited Scotland. I love Scotland and Wales, and I visited some other countries. But I loved here. I chose to live here, and I'm not going away. Which they made it on purpose, and they're having my material stuff, which my goods that out through these years they kept, like my books, my everything. So, and these even things that I think, okay, not that's gonna come when I even go to a bigger apartment, try to save my money. My father should help me actually if that. Even he said, because my sister is just both of them. There's a twin sister, just like spoiled, and just like it's nothing, like you're not fighting for breadcrumbs. It's just like I'm gonna die. They know there's no job. I'm 46. I'll be 47. It's the market's low, and then it doesn't matter if I go, oh, I'm nice to meet you, I want to work, and then I have to forget I don't have any reference. My manager is gonna just to just burn my reputation. She did that for me to isolate me, to could have this trap. And then beside of these material things, that the people, they hold financial things as well, that they should have paid me, that I was actually debating with my sisters throughout the years in a nice way. What happened to my grandfather's money, that he loved me a lot, and he was very wealthy. He died in 2009, and he always, especially my twin sister, always came with different excuses that didn't work. She even contradicts her mother, that lies about the subject as well. And they just want, okay, they're stealing me, and that's the list of problem. They took my job, they are defaming me, so they don't stop that. So I claim this not gonna do in English just because I want, just because France doesn't work. No, I'm doing it that in French. I want the authorities here to be aware. I trust them. I know they be aware what's Manchester. And in Brazil, I'm doing in Portuguese. Is the language that I'm most at ease at, just English, French, and Portuguese. And now I'm trying to get better in English. So I'm denouncing them in 3 languages. I wish before, some years ago, I spoke very good Spanish. I used to speak very good Spanish, but I think it's too much. It's not my goal here to show off or speak another language. Then it's just gonna be more confusing. I just want to focus and just to try to say that. And what they are saying is just, it doesn't matter if, okay, we are from England, there's jurisdiction, but if they come to the news like these football players, like because they went to the news and it went to the fan, actually, like we say, I think even in English, and the thing is just like things that they are hiding just came to the surface. Then of course, then the next day they were paying already. They are 3 months apparently late. They were paying already. They are getting something like with a bank, lending money with banks, and like borrowing, and they were paying 2 months. So, but what they didn't do that before. If it is only, but the atmosphere there is ruined. But the same thing, it doesn't matter, because if probably other some in Argentina, other Latin countries heard about that, because that's very grave. That's the same thing I say. And sometimes for just things to work, they think, oh, Hurton is threatening his put. No, just try to make justice, and I need help people from need from look from outside what they are doing. Like, because a mother like that, she was arrested in Australia. So if people from Australia, there was arrestations about that in United States. I published already about that. There is from America. There is a series that the girl had to kill her mother because she wasn't hurt. She was about 19 and 18 or 20, her 20s. It's called The Act. So much, so grave it was, because she wasn't hurt, and the mother, by doctors or whatever, or they just push, they try to persuade, they force, and the girl's like, she's ruining my life. She cannot have friendship, she cannot have a boyfriend, and she's just making up all her life, she's fabricating things. And just like they actually, the authorities, they recognize we should have stopped her mother where there was time. And even in United Kingdom, there are some few reports, that happened as well. They were caught. But what, I'm gonna wait for me to die or something like that? Or even in Australia, these girls, children cannot defend themselves, and the adults, they finish in a way poverty. Like my mom said, they are gonna die in poverty, and then she lies like she's a poor, blah, poor old lady, like nice old lady. That's a lie. And the for Munchausen by proxy, like if you see Katie Morton's video and all this stuff, all the materials, there are movies, there are books about that, there are articles, there are specialists writing about that. You can see this stuff, and you can see, like, even the girl in Australia, what are the side effects, and the mother there was making money of that. And even my sisters, they are making money, and their mothers make like success. They say, oh, my son is so, I just have nightmares like of her often, like she's lying, she doesn't stop lying, and she just put my father, she made my father hates me, and my father is in a trap, because if he confess, he can lose his degree, it's also his reputation is the same thing. But I want to call like attention from people here. I'm quite sure that all these things that when I publish, they take some time, and I'm waiting mode, and then it's supervised. But I want help from people here in Montpellier, from friends, and not going against. I had a problem with my job to sort the thing in the best way, and for these people in Brazil to be caught. Because if it's not in the city over there, it's not in the state, it comes from outside, or some people start to see, that's a scandal. So otherwise it wouldn't come. Like I said, some things I left, like some things I take off. It's just sometimes I feel insecure, of course, because my father is not talking to me. It's just he doesn't answer. He's just doing a blockus, and he's waiting. Ayrton is just defaming, and it's just he doesn't. And even I said send my picture, that because I was doing a nice page on Instagram. I had the project put old pictures that of landscapes, and even other things that I had very nice, and it can help him, like here, because people, I am gonna put pictures from the city. I was like quite excited about it, and doing some, even if it was working, I was probably do that, and it attracts the tourism and it is things like that. They didn't send, when I sent it can be used for, they sent like 10%. When I said didn't send anything, just send, they sent 2%. Actually, they lied and said, look, there's a lie. I know that there is this picture, there's this photo, and no, you're not sending, and you can scan for free. And they didn't send. I said, look, that can help me. If you send my CDs and my LPs, my vinyls and stuff like that, there is a shop over here. I can go and have a chat with the guy. Just socialize, can exchange something, can sell, can buy, and then it can help, can be helpful. They didn't send me. They are holding things there. And then my sister said, "Oh, you have to ask them." Oh, I asked them. I asked my father actually nicely. Oh, but you need to ask your father and your mother. They're holding that stuff. And then I said, look, that can be asked for 2 years ago. Then I had to stop this Instagram project. I said, like, that can be off. They don't want me to get like a job here. They want me to like to do heal, or to kill, like silent, subreptitious. My father loved this word. If you see, like, this disguisedly, because if people you're not obliged to know this is difficult, not very used in English. Subreptitiously, they just want to kill, like, it's not this mother that they don't have any power, and that serves well my manager as well. So that's you don't find a job. And if I quit Montpellier, I'm in trouble, because it's this 46, 47, wherever I go, I don't want to quit. There's even more. I'll be sad whenever they know it, and I'm in trouble in any way. and I'm trying to stay here, and but they don't want me to find a job here because my sister don't want, because they want, oh, now if you find a job, they have to give explanations, because then they can inherit everything. They can go, oh, he's you. They don't want me to have a girlfriend. There's a girl that I know she loves me, I know, but my sister said things just like would scare, that arrived. And I know some reports, if you got where to, and that's impossible. No, I know some reports, people lost their jobs. I'm not saying names because it's tough for me even to come here to public. It's tough because these people, they can be dangerous, like a mother like that. That's why they should be arrested. They are dangerous. If you like this guy from Inter, I don't know if the players are gonna suffer threats or something like that, but they don't want that. And my sister, even if I get like the girlfriend, it's competition. The girl I liked had a child already, which is normal here in France. Just like many people get like split and whatever, it's normal. Like even Brazil, my both sisters, they're split, and they were, well, my sister had a stepdaughter or something like that. There was not a problem. And for everything I knew, she was single. She split from the guy who was her son fathers. And but they don't everything to me, for me to be like really like in a very bad situation. I'm trying not to use bad words, but they want me like no, have no job, so I don't can claim anything, or die, or anything, or just go back and just ask, oh mama, give me something now, oh, you're giving me like so many nice things. Then she gives me, like, go to Brazil, she gives me like a credit card and just say, oh, we spend everything. I show like I'm a good mother, and then you speak to me. Just, she played this game all my life, and she tortured me. She had pedophile tendencies. She showed her tits when I was 13. I was 32nd. What? It's just like I was 13 years old, just like I got my puberty later, but I understood things already, just what? And she's not even sick, it's just like, it's not even a joke. It's just like I told my sister, oh, that's not, if my father just put his pants down and just look, just have a go here, just do I'm gonna say that, tells my sister, just do a blow job, and my sister is 13. You think that's normal? That's not normal. This person is sick in the head. And then she starts all my life. Then because when a child didn't realize, she took to doctors. Doctors always take me to doctors to that. I'll find a job. She took me to a place, to a clinic that was like people with Down syndrome. You can see a person with Down syndrome is speaking like 3 languages, doing now my CVs, working. My sister never worked, my mother never worked. She was taking me to something like that, and of course I was taking the best grade. I was doing every sport was like, excellent and everything. I didn't know, but why I'm here? Just like she doesn't stop, and she's maniac. She just like it's the eternal baby illness, I call. But it's not even, she's aware, like the judge Tony Rafters said in Australia to the mother like that. You're aware of your doing, she said to the mother, and my mother, she's aware. She's not making like, she's not going to the press. She's not telling my sister, oh, hurt him, because they know I send emails. I have the proofs that they know that I'm in a very bad situation. I can die, and I'm gonna lose. I'm losing money. I can lose my apartment. I can be homeless, and before that, I'm gonna go crazy, just like out of stress and out of malnutrition, because it starts to, there's inflation. It's gonna start to like money. They know I suffer, and she doesn't say anything. My sister sending me emails. My father send. They know I don't send to her, but they do this. Speak to your mother or die. I don't send to her, because it's just like that's her game, And then not just gonna, oh, you're obliged now. You have to. No, that's the way she plays. It's like a molester, a perpetrator. And but the thing and before I used to even send to her. I sent her, and she knows about that. And she actually she bullied me for more than 1 year after I lost my job. Just herself, she took the others out and said, you're making proof. And then when I said, you're making proof against herself, because they have like 3, 4, 5, 6 lawyers, she stopped, because of course she made a lot of proof. And even though she stopped, but she made too many proofs against herself, that she was trying, she was mothering me. She was like suffocating me, like in a room, like she wants, by emails, just, oh, I am the only one who speaks me. But it's my sisters are sending me is, oh, your mother doesn't stop crying, she's worried about you, she's worried, she wants you help. No, my sister is just gonna send, oh, Harton, I'm gonna send you a piece of bread, I'm gonna send, so what she said, sending me, she said, she's gonna send a bed sheet for you, for your bed, just something for, you don't even use like a sheet normally to cover yourself. You don't even use it normally in Europe. You just do it like you say in England, and I just okay, just what you were gonna say to sending that to me, just for me to follow in the streets with that, and just she's doing that, and she just okay, start talking on these free applications with me on the phone. She has my phone. She doesn't say anything. Say to me, oh, I want to help you. What? You have my manager's email. You have her phone. You have like 10, 12 people here. Just send them messages saying that I'm a good brother, and then she stops to talk. She's just for justice because they know that they're screwed. She wants just like to, and she plays, cards. It's just like she's faking things. That's my twin sister, and she says, "Oh, your mother is not doesn't give you orders." No, she doesn't. She just manipulates. She doesn't give orders, but she's manipulating everything. And just needs and they protect because they are sponsored. Both of them are sponsored. My younger sister sold my nieces, her daughter's beatings to my mother, who is nasty with children. Is nasty. I saw this. He's horrible. She's mistreats. She cries like she was a baby when I was there. I witnessed hearing, saying like horrible stuff that you don't say. I think in the worst neighbors or areas of London or New York or whatever country or in Africa, and saying even threatening of death. You're gonna just leave. You'll die here. You're be. I'm not gonna say the bad words, just but with horrible anger, just like hatred, and just like the baby just cried even more. And I told my sister, look, that's happening. And then my sister, she doesn't do nothing because she doesn't work, and she pay. And I always said this to her throughout the years. And say, oh, Herta, I don't want to talk about this, but I said, I know you are suffering. I know you suffer a lot. You are carrying crosses. Okay, carrying many crosses, more than Jesus. Then because of the way, this, I know, yes, it's just not very saying, look what he did. And she said, oh, I don't want to talk about this. But then she complained when I was like in England for 3 years, sending me an email that she said, oh, your niece, she loves you, she remembers, because but she just hold her when I was like until she was 8 months when I left there. And she always talked to the uncle Ayrton, how is he? But she doesn't like your mother, like yourself, like her mother, like our quote mothers. She doesn't. She lets our father get into the room, and but she doesn't let her. She doesn't want her to get into the room. She doesn't like her, and of course. And then I say to her, you're sold your daughter's beatings. You are selling your brother's life, and that's what my sister is doing. So she should go to jail. Both of them, there should be some investigation. Is it correct what I'm saying? Should I put against this maybe in the end of when it finishes? Because I'm using a semiotic image. What's about you can see an old lady and you can see a young lady, and that doesn't mean that the old lady is bad, but you can see both of sides. Can you see both of sides? I ask, because some people that's a matter of perception that they even because one of my best grade, if not the best, is psychology communication. And maybe I'm gonna put this my father's message in the end, which I cannot. I don't know if you can translate through YouTube, but of course with MLC you can translate that, or if you just see the thing on my Twitter, on my Facebook account, it's just published there. You can translate what he's saying, but he's just like I even wrote like even if it was in like the pen things or digital pens, just like a mouse, a gynecologist, what he sent to me like just 2-3 months after I was fired. You can see like how things are grave. So I'm gonna keep like doing, even if I repeat myself, because these players, the people think, oh, they don't know, they repeat themselves, or where are rages, and oh, you're repeating yourself. Stop repeating these things. Forget about the past. That's the trick. That's the trick of someone who is doing something bad. Something so a scammer. Then no, the price no. Where is my wages? It's like the farm. Probably some people are saying that it's 1 year late. It's just turned up like 3 months. But the things like they are high. Then oh no, stop Art on talking. They're just making podcasts about it. Well, what I'm gonna talk about. Just if my manager calls me, and I think they should go to jail. That's my view. No, from thing. You can comment. You can think different. But if they go to jail in Brazil, it's gonna facilitate even my manager to have a talk to me, and even my image here for the rest of my life. I don't need to hide, and things are done. Justice is done, and I try to believe in justice like a big J, not justice like. And in official justice, then I probably speak to her and she's gonna understand, because I can put myself in her mind. My father calls her and said, "Oh, fabricates, my son was always ill. He doesn't speak to his mother. He has this illness and that and that." She gets confused, and then the guy start. "Oh, you see, I was the guy is I didn't get along well." And he's saying, "Oh, because of course, oh, you are you." And said, "No, you are not work. You are lazy. Just this, and he couldn't just. I was gonna stay here until I was 60 because he knew I was intelligent. He even said that." And he goes just, and then, "Oh, look, I said he's you. He's just like his past." He said, because I always said, "Yes, I don't go back to my country. It has been 8 years old. I have Portuguese citizenship." But they said, "What about your mother? She's from Madagascar, and she never went back." He said, "Oh, because it was how do you say in English? Was It's like a douane we say in French. Um, anyway, it's something like if there's like some taxes or stuff. Even that, actually, my father should actually, I don't know, be fiscalized in Brazil because he did, I think, some hidden things. But anyway, that's something probably beyond. But this guy was saying things like that, and then, "Oh, I saw it. I told him." And then he get closer again to because even them, the children of the manager, not the children that they were grew up, they didn't buy what he said. But, "Oh, I told he's you," and then my manager gets okay. His father calls and said, "Oh, I'm a big doctor, I'm a serious doctor, and my son needs to go back. He needs to go to treatment." I can imagine what goes through her head, and she has a fight in the staff cause actually the hotel is not a problem, but we have to work in different shifts. And the atmosphere between me and this guy was not good, and of course he was throwing. Normally one person will start, always one starting one new one over there against me, and that's causing problems. And this, okay. His father calls. Oh, now like I found out about Hurton's past. It's just, but they lie, and they lie, and that's much else in by proxy, and they destroy your life. And they think they are, but they should be ashamed, If I'm publishing this and comment that, and I'm just no script improvising my English, that's why sometimes I delete them. I hope so. But anyway, it's finished for now. I think this was a long one. I wanna see if I'm gonna publish. Thank you, and if you can, like, more than share, like, pass on this story to help me. And like I say, I want to stay here in Montpellier. I love here, but of course I'm in a difficult situation. I don't. How can I face an employer and say, "Look, I worked. I even went for courses that I was turned down because just like, of course they take one day. Okay, nice CV, what I'm gonna doing, like, trying to do, but I have to all the weight on my back to do like programming or something like that, something different. It's just I don't have time. Even I don't have like how to feed well, and even the aids of the government is just gonna put me down. And it's just loads of paperwork and stuff like that. And I was turned down because of course they're gonna call. Well, I have to put on my CV. I cannot leave like a whole dead, something empty. And they call my manager. Of course, they get references. And my manager is gonna just to tell me down. Tell things about me. She doesn't want me in any way to react or anything. Probably she wants me out of her. But even if she says, that's why I try here not to go to justice, not create a conflict. But if I feel here that I find people, I didn't find people who knows about this, one chosen by proxy, and they can get support, even her, because it's bad for the city as it was bad for Paris. Doesn't matter who worked or who was responsible for the organization of the match. It's bad. It's just not Paris. It's a bad city. It's a nice city, it's a beautiful city like London, but they get in it. These people need to get responsible because English sports, they're mad. Spanish sporters, they are mad. Even the French people, they're ashamed. They have shame. They are mad. Okay, they like, even some French go to the sport either sometimes they sport English football clubs. Sometimes they sport loads of Spanish football clubs, or they just want to go to the match. They're mad. So that doesn't mean that there is a problem over there. That I have a problem with Montpellier or something like that, or no, nothing. But that I was isolated because of that, yes. Then they are defaming me, keep defaming from both sides. And there in Brazil, that they should. I don't know how, because they cut basically all the contacts in my city. I just have contact with one person. They cut my friendships. They started to repeat them. They're just like, "You're proxying my friends," that just, "Oh, you are." My father actually, he evicted me in the name of my mother. He didn't he didn't keep his word with me, because we had a deal, and actually even for this should be equal for everyone, and even to my sister, and he didn't keep it, and because of her, she pushed things for me, like I came like out from the forest, like no, like she said, it was I shouldn't be born, like so should have put me in like an orphanage. It was horrible. He was mistreating me bad, mistreating me like I had no parents, nothing, because of her. And then he broke his word again. Just after I lost my job, he said, "Okay, I'm paying your sister for 20, 25 years." Just to ship. He paid, I think, probably to her now. Because at the time it was like more than 200,000 euros I made. I put, how to make accounts, to make accounts, just worked in this industry is. I'm smart. I just take, okay, let's see what's the price of that. If she's renting, her daughter is working, is studying that school. It's the price of, she has a car, she didn't buy it, just put in everything in the thing. Okay, now it's more than 250,000 euros. He paid to her. I said, look, okay, you're gonna, now you want me to find a new job. That's all. If you know, no, but he just took these friends out, and they fixed friends that are have most friends that, oh, hurt me, you need to go to a therapist. You need to go to a therapist. That's probably something by proxy. Oh, because you're fired, you deserve that, and just like that, just he never said that, then they put pressure and they lost, and people who were trying to mediate and just, I'm going to speak to your father, they turn against me. Oh, you were ungrateful, you are not. And oh no, my sister that stays there that never worked, that with his money buy present with to him, that even I didn't like when I did that, because I started, okay, nice, I gave you money, but he bought a present to me. He loved it, but try to run your life, and of course I did, when I started to work. I think when I was 22, I was a bit late, but where I come from, when I was created this way, this wealth fund. But I have a sister which there, she's now going to make 44, never worked, probably still not working today, and then she's doing that, she's buying things like, how much do you want today, like 500 euros get, and then she buys like a bottle of whiskey to my father, that he's totally alcoholic, like totally. And they use that. My sisters, my mother used to call my father alcoholic, and they used to forgive him even for the things he did when I was an adult. Just don't do this, don't mistake. You can, okay, you work, you can drink or whatever, but it's just like on Wednesday, on Saturday, and Sunday. But now they profit from it, because he's just like an alien, he's empty, and they made him hate me, and probably put him against the wall. They took over his bank account and everything, and they are just just profiting from it, And my father doesn't show any, like, he's happy, and now he's guilty. Before I could excuse him, okay, he was like in a sandwich, like, cause my mother put in pressure and all this interest from my sister, but now he's guilty. What he's done, he's accomplice, and he's not saying anything, because of course he wants to keep silent, because he did a crime. So I hope then they get punished. Thank you.